We shouldn't at all be surprised that children are usual recruits of gangs in Cape Town. But it was a story by Velani Ledudi of News 24, really put it into sharp focus of how when crime is committed in Philippi, whether it's a violent robbery, whether it's a murder, whether it's an assault, residents expect the perpetrators to be teenagers. It's an underpoliced area, and it's become a savage playground for mere children. They're armed by gangsters and extortionists who use them as their personal foot soldiers. In a recent case, there was a 14-year-old who was shot dead shortly after having been suspended for taking a gun to school. And in some cases, teens are being armed by gangs who use them to carry out crimes, including robbing of locals, including hijackings. Speak now to Dumisani Qwebe, who's the secretary of the Nyanga Community Police Forum. Dumisani, really appreciate your time. We've been learning about this more and more for several years now, that youngsters, teenagers, children being recruited by gangs on the Cape Flats. But maybe just give me a spotlight on what's been happening in the Nyanga precinct area, particularly in Philippi.
Actually, it is a serious challenge that our young boys from 14 to 17 years are becoming the element of criminality, and it has been a while that they are being involved in this, especially those who are at school. You will find that when they go to school, they carry the firearms, or when they are coming from school, they get off uniform, they go and do the criminal activities. That is the lack of a positive role model, which means we don't have those positive role models to them. Now they are being educated in the wrong model. What is important for now is to all of us as a community to say, where did we let it go to be it is now? And while we don't blame anyone, because these young boys, when they do these things, parents are at work sometimes. Then when they come back from school, they conduct these things. Or when they go to school, the parents are already left to work. Those are the challenges that are facing. We've been having a meeting with the Department of Education to say, how do we then squeeze this problem? Because it is really originated from the schools. And from there, it becomes a serious challenge. We are busy negotiating to say in 2026, how then do we better the learning environment so that it can be the issue of criminality development. So we need to deal with those things. Then we'll be asking the parents, can we work together to ensure that we've got a good parenting skills in terms of saying what needs to be done within the family, within the street, within the community.
Yeah. Dumisani, you ask, where's the social safety net? Where is the intervention? Where are the programs, the facilities, the projects that diverts a young boy, a child, 14 years old? Because generally, I think if you're already looking at a life of criminality at 14 years old, you've already largely lost hope for a productive life as part of the community at 14 years old. And that is what's depressing. That's what's worrying. Children already losing hope for the future, saying maybe programs.
Remember
maybe
now,
crime is the answer.
Have got an agreement with Sub-Council 13 to access the facilities within the communities so that we can be able to have some programs with these young boys and the girls, because also the girls, they are being in the same route as boys, because they are the ones who are requesting, they are the ones who are being used to call Facebook marketing. So we are in that problem. What is now we need to do is to ensure that we do a collective agreement between us and the intergovernmental department so that we can be able to say we are addressing the social ills, because social ills are the problem. Secondly, the unemployment in other families is also contributing to criminal activities, because these young boys, when they grew up, seeing that there's nothing to eat within the family, they become the victims of being recruited. So we need to look in all those aspects, so to say, how then do we work together?
Are there any examples yet of children where there's been any intervention when it comes to children already involved in criminality? What do you do? Do you extract them from the community? Do you send them to a place of safety? Do you ask, for example, the Chrysalis Academy in Tukai, is there any space for them to accommodate these children? I know of a project in the Ottery area where community leaders, in fact, extract children. They can see that they're being targeted by local gangs. They're being drawn closer and closer. But before they reach that part, they say, let's extract you from the area. Let's go live on a farm for a period of time, and hopefully by the time you return back home, you've maybe developed some sort of a ethic or an integrity, so that if you are approached by a gang, you can say no thank you.
Actually, we do have the NGOs that we are working with them in our committees that are having the programs for these young boys. At some point, we'll find them that are being taken away for the camps. And some of them today are as ambassadors, so it's in the committees. If I may tell you, they were the young boys who were nearly to be at the risk of their lives, but when they were involved in that program, today they are the ambassadors of singers who are always get invited to Egypt. Last year they were in Dubai. There is an improvement, but now what we can do is this: when you talk about Chris Alice Academy, we only get those application form in a period of 2 days before it's a closing date. Now we have been saying to them, can we have them immediately so that we can be ensuring that we get these young boys, we get them out of these criminal activities, we send them to Chris Alice so that they can be trained and come and be one of the ambassadors in the community. But the problem is that we always get those invites in the last moment.
Of course, saying no thank you to a gang is easier said than done. There's of course the risk of gangs intimidating children themselves to forcibly recruit them into these organizations.
Yeah, yes, Kiewit, one of the things that we need to zoom in, remember, in this, in our township, Philippi, Nyanga, Guguletu, Crossroad, Lower Crossroad, we do have the gangs. Remember, we've got Jazz London, we've got Boko Haram, we've got West Afghanistan groups, which means there's a lot of them. Then what is needed now? We need to sit down and say to crime intelligence and Hawks, how then can we trace the people who are the mastermind of this grouping, so that we can be able to deal with those gangsters who are now becoming a problem in our communities.
Dumisani Qwebe, really appreciate your time. Sobering conversation. They're 14-year-olds, already active gang members, recruited as quite literal child soldiers for gangs on the Cape Flats.